Good morning, future M. I am being a medicining human. I'm doing all of the medicines. Here we go. I like my little medicine box. It is rainbow. And now I have to fill it up with all my 1 bajillion medicines. Medicine. I am a medicine human. A medicine human. The realities of the day after riding 20 miles, or at least 19 miles, is that I am a couch flop. But look, so is Callie Waffles. Look at that little couch flop. No. Are you a couch flop too?
Sort of, yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm kind of I guess this is a flop. I feel fine. I just need to stretch a little bit. Scorp is kind of feeling the pain too.
We took him over some very rutted terrain, and that was our first time off-roading in him, and one of his belly parts got mushed.
Yeah.
Well, which belly part is it?
I don't know. I don't know the name of it, so I haven't been able to order a replacement. I asked the guy who retrofitted it for us what it's called. We'll see what he says when he gets back, but it's part of the... Excuse me. It's part of the chain idler assembly, but it's like a little idle clamp, it's called. It's like an automotive clamp. And then there's like another bit attached to it like this. And the chain feeds the chain into the chain idler pulley. That's
because
like
on a trike, like, there's
cracked.
the chain has to like go underneath the belly of the trike and up to the front derailleur, so it has to have like another guide as opposed to on like a regular bike where it doesn't have like a middle bit. So his middle bit got mushed. Yesterday I was writing about the fact that I feel like it's hard to share a process that's very experimental and doesn't have a clear direction. So I'm going to experiment with that.
A moment in the day when they had not been pressed together. As she got older, Pearl would still cling to her mother's leg, then her waist, then her hand, as if there were something in her mother she needed to absorb through the skin. Is she? An unfit mother, I mean. Mia picked up her pencil and turned to her sketch again. A net, Lexi thought. No, perhaps it was a cage. Was she before? Maybe. She was in a bad situation. But she abandoned her baby. This was something Lexi had heard her mother say enough times, into the telephone to Mrs. McCullough anytime the case came up, to engrave it in her mind as fact. I think she was trying to do what was best for the baby.
One of the things I decided to do when I quit Instagram and Twitter was to sort of give myself what are referred to as teacher stickers on the internet, on Amazon. So like little reward stickers that teachers use to, I don't know, help students. So I decided that if my brain was trained by all of these algorithms to have this need for this sort of affirmation constantly, that I would try and work that into my pieces. So when I extra like a page that I do, give myself a little sticker. Good job, self. I spent a long time in the studio this afternoon and evening after having spent most of the day writing a new scene for my novel Helmet and Forceps. A video of me reading I'm going to be posting on the channel. A lot of that time was just spent like cutting out shapes and gluing them together and arranging them and figuring out where they lived and what they did. Because when I stay with the materials, my anxiety about like, where is this going and why are you doing this, tends to be less aggressive. I've been reading Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, which is all about creative life and fear and how you basically can't get rid of your fear and you have to bring it along with you. It's it's like one of your creative collaborators' fear. And I feel like for me, fear is the thing saying, or at least questioning every piece and every decision, every little move I make. It told me its name is Bladder. Paparazzi. Steve is wondering why I have to constantly paparazzi him, and it's because of that ass. He is making Kurdish white bean stew, or just Kurdish white beans. They look like this. Nom 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 nom. And we are having it with doname rice. Woo! It's a lid. Woo! It's a rice.
The top with only one way to go from there. Lee had a point, no? I mean, if you cannot repeat a once-in-a-lifetime miracle, if you can never again reach the top, then why bother creating at all? Well, I can actually speak about this predicament from personal experience, because I myself was once at the top, with a book that sat on the bestseller list for more than 3 years. I can't tell you how many people said to me during those years, how are you ever going to top that? They'd speak of my great good fortune as though it were a curse, not a blessing, and would speculate about how terrified I must feel at the prospect of not being able to reach such phenomenal heights again. But such thinking assumes there is a top, and that reaching that top and staying there is the only motive one has to create. Such thinking assumes that the mysteries of inspiration operate on the same scale that we do, on a limited human scale of success and failure, of winning and losing, of comparison and competition, of commerce and reputation, of units sold and influence wielded. Such thinking assumes that you must be constantly victorious, not only against your peers, but also against an earlier version of your own poor self. Most dangerously of all, such thinking assumes that if you cannot win, then you must not continue to play. But what does any of that have to do with vocation? What does any of that have to do with the pursuit of love? What does any of that have to do with the strange communion between the human and the magical? What does any of that have to do with faith? What does any of that have to do with the quiet glory of merely making things and then sharing those things with an open heart and no expectations? I wish that Harper Lee had kept writing. I wish that right after Mockingbird and her Pulitzer Prize, she had churned out 5 cheap and easy books in a row, a light romance, a police procedural, a children's story, a cookbook, some kind of pulpy action-adventure story, anything. You might think I'm kidding, but I'm not. Imagine what she might have created, even accidentally, with such an approach. At the very least, she could have tricked everyone into forgetting that she'd once been Harper Lee. She could have tricked herself into forgetting that she'd once been Harper Lee, which might have been artistically liberating. Fortunately, after so many decades of silence, we do get to hear more of Lee's voice. Recently, a lost early manuscript of hers was discovered, a novel that she wrote before To Kill a Mockingbird. In other words, a book that she wrote before the entire world was watching and waiting for what she would do next, hovering with expectation. But I wish someone had been able to convince Lee to keep writing for the entirety of her life and to keep publishing all along. It would have been a gift to the world. And it would have been a gift to her as well, to have been able to remain a writer and to have enjoyed the pleasures and satisfactions of that work for herself, because in the end, creativity is a gift to the creator, not just a gift to the audience. I wish somebody had given Ralph Ellison the same sort of advice. Just write anything and put it out there with reckless abandon. And F. Scott Fitzgerald, too, and any other creator, famous or obscure, who ever vanished beneath the shadow of their own real or imagined reputation.